and experiences. So put your phone down until they tell you to do otherwise. And prick your ears up because this is unmissable stuff. They will also be taking questions throughout the session. So if you have a question, just raise up your hand and I will come to you with a microphone and they will gladly answer your questions as they go along. Please welcome Natalie and James.
Thank you. Wow, the lights are on. Now you can pick your phones up again, because that's what this is all about. Social media, you don't do it with anything else. First and foremost, we're going to need that. Excellent. So this is us. I'm James. I run Little Lane Media on social media. Everyone follow me. But my main goal through Little Lane Media is to support Beautiful Booze with my business analytics and everything that I can do to help develop her company further.
Can you guys, okay, you can hear me, it's on now. I'm Natalie, and for, like she said, the past 4 years is actually 6. For the past 6 years, I've been running Beautiful Booze. There's a blog, a Facebook account, but most notably, my Instagram account is where people usually follow me to get information, and we are so excited to be here today to share some of the tips and tricks that we've learned through just being on Instagram all the time. So I'm hoping that you guys can get something out of this today that you can immediately use.
Before we kick it off, we do have a little interaction side of it. No, just joking. Show of hands, though. Who here is a bartender or a bar manager? Okay. Any brand owners or people running social media for a brand? Yeah. Okay. All right, great. So we do, most of this is towards you, and there are some first steps. Everyone uses it, I assume, regularly. That's why you're here. You're using it. You're trying to figure out how to be better at it. Otherwise, you're not using it and you want to use it.
So a couple things that I like to ask people, because what we're focusing on is obviously Instagram, but I feel like these tips you can really use towards whatever social media outlet you're trying to improve on, whether that be Instagram, Facebook, or Twitter. I think a lot of this stuff applies, but we are focusing mostly on Instagram. And with that being said, one thing that I really suggest for everyone that is doing this on any level is to have a business account. So do you all have business accounts? Just a show of hands of people. And if you're not familiar, what I'm asking is on Instagram, you can have a personal account, a business account. There's a creator account, but I'm not going to go down that road right now. That's what I'm asking. So we're going to try to talk about why we think you should have a business account.
So through today's session, these are the goals that we're hoping that you'll all understand by the end of it. This is what we hope that you get out of this session using social media. And for everyone taking photos of the slides, grab a card at the end. Happy to. I'm not saying don't. Yeah. We've got a PDF of the whole presentation with our notes that we can send to you all so you can review it afterwards and, absorb what you can now, and we'll send that over. It's a lot easier than a crappy iPhone
yes,
photo.
if you want to take photos of us and tag us, then I'll share it.
Yeah,
anyway,
she loves that.
I'm just adding that. If you want to, you can.
So these are the goals that we like to put forth. There's in amongst those, there's utilizing the right hashtags for your local community, for your event, whatever it is that you're doing. And throughout this presentation, we're going to talk about how to kind of achieve each of these to the best of your ability.
And just to say, we do this professionally, we train privately on social media, but I want to say this. We used to do a lot of seminars that focused on, getting the most likes, getting more followers. But specifically, as Instagram has transitioned, we've started focusing more on finding influential people in your community and really community building through this app, because we have access to people we would have never had access before just by messaging them or interacting with them. So we're really focused on this whole community building thing.
And that's what today's about.
Yes.
So the step one, once you have a business account, is creating the most SEO beneficial account that you can. Is anyone not familiar with SEO? Excellent. Okay. So it's a website terminology or business terminology based on search engine optimization. and it is something that transfers into social media. It's creating the right account and using the right buzzwords so people are able to utilize those when they're searching to find you. Things amongst this are your name, and just these are the key components for that. So by utilizing the Instagram business account, it allows you to enter in certain identifiers about who you are and what it is that you do. And these are the top ones that Natalie's going to go through.
So if you're just on a personal account, basically you can put your name, you can put a little bit of information. You can't put like location and specific things. So that's why we're really pushing this business account. We have 3 up here, mine, James, and Bartender at Large. You can see these as examples if we move forward. Like we were saying on here. So my username, as you can see up there, is Beautiful Booze. But this is each line as a business account Instagram lets you put in. So, for example, this is like your profile name. Mine used to just be Beautiful Booze, but then I wanted to SEO optimize it, so I added cocktails, which means when somebody's searching for cocktails on Instagram, hopefully my profile is coming up. So you see what I'm getting at. You can add specific key terms that relate to you so people can actually find you. And that's like one of the biggest hurdles. You need to make stuff very clear and concise and SEO friendly so people can actually find you. The second is really personalization. So I've got my name. The third one is if you've won any awards or anything like that, it's really great to showcase that. What your occupation is, as well as your location. I would suggest putting in your location, like I have Berlin here, but also as a business account, it will let you hyperlink like a Google map to the bottom. I don't have that because I do not live anywhere, so I can't hyperlink this. But if you do have a specific location, especially if you are a bar or just an individual, you should definitely add that as a hyperlink. What you also don't see is below this, and you can also add your website, but below this as a business account, it will have an email button or a location button, things that you can, they're not on here, things you can actually click. So that's another primary, I would say, benefit of having a business account is people know how to contact you. They can just press a button and email you directly.
And the order of these things isn't necessarily as Natalie's account shows. This is what was best for Beautiful Booze as a company. However, as a bar, you may want your style of bar. If you're influenced by Italian drinks or by something specific, the personalization is where that would go. If your job title is to be a brand ambassador or an advocate or anything like that, you should move that up. It is more important for people to see. And all of this is definitely mendable to what you do specifically.
Yeah, so another example is I used to live in Seattle. So I would look at different bars that had really good profiles on Instagram. And they wouldn't just have Seattle, they'd have like, you know, the best cocktail bar in Capitol Hill or Belltown. And putting that specific neighborhood really helps people be able to find you. So, you know, that's another benefit of making sure your profile is in sync.
So this is what y'all are here for mostly, the finding and partnering with influential people in your community. So today, most of this seminar is going to cover that. How to find the right people, how to have them find you is what we've just talked about, and then how to reach out to them and how to engage with these people in a way that's going to benefit you the best or your business or portfolio.
So really, these are just some of the benefits that you can see here, like showing that you're engaged in the community, reaching more people at a local level. So that's the thing I was talking about connecting with people in your neighborhood that you might not already know, increasing your digital engagement, attracting more customers, staying relevant, see what trends and things are happening within your community or actually worldwide. And that's one of the biggest benefits that I think Instagram has given a lot of people. You have access to people all around the world that you would not have access to without this free thing. It is free, so you might as well utilize it to your benefit.
Does anyone have any questions on anything so far? Just we've been hustling through that first section. Before we move on further with this, I wanted to make sure everyone's happy and good with it all.
It seems very
right.
fast. It seems very fast, but it's really, we just want to make sure that your profile is optimized enough that you're setting yourself up for people to be able to find you and people to understand what you do.
So this is what questions that we get all the time when we do these seminars for private companies. And it's how do you find the right people in your local community, as well as all of the rest about how to find the right people. There's plenty of people in your community that are influential. There's plenty of people with a lot of followers, people getting a lot of likes and some great engagement. And you want to find out who's right for your business, who's going to give you the best result or the best return on investment. So, yeah.
Yeah, just who can you network with that can help you be successful? Like, this is all about like online networking. You have access to these people, so you might as well utilize that access.
Yeah, and it all goes down to a very personal decision on your behalf. Obviously, there's the easy ones where you see a lot of spam, or you go through and they're not engaging with their audience. They have a lot of followers and they look great, but nobody's actually engaging. So your return on investment is actually going to be low. So it's easy to see that and kind of move forward and find somebody else that's more relevant to you. It's also great to follow hashtags. Sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself, but we're going to move forward to this one. We do talk about that later. I was kind of jumping at it.
So after like thinking about finding influential people in your community, you might want to be like, oh, well, maybe I should meet this person in real life, from virtual to in real life. And I would say for me, despite my mom thinking I'm super sketchy by meeting people on Instagram around the world, I find that it has been great, like not only just for my business, but also because I'm invested in the people that follow me. So I would say probably 95% of the time, if a bartender or a brand ambassador or somebody invites me to go somewhere and I'm like in that city, then I'll do it, because the whole point of my account and the only reason that I can survive is because I have these people that are followers that are invested in my content. So for me, it's very important to meet people in real life and make connections. So just these photos that I have up here, like there's one of me standing with cognac barrels. I just got a message one day through Instagram and somebody was like, did you go to NC State University? I'm like, this is weird. This is like coming from like a cognac brand. I was like, yes. Because you don't know what you're getting into sometimes on these DMs in Instagram. And they were like, oh, well, my husband's family owns this cognac brand. Can we bring you down to cognac? And I'm like, yeah. So this is an example where they were like, somebody reached out to me and I said, yeah, I want to come visit. Took a bunch of photos. I mean, that's an example of one photo, but I probably gave them about 200 photos that I took just because they invited me down. They offered an experience. So when people are asking me about cognac brands, I'm like, well, this is one of my favorite ones because I tried all their stuff. It was good, and they offered me this experience.
And it's all about being proactive. So once you go through and you're spending your time on Instagram, finding the right people and seeing who it is that you do want to work with, don't be afraid to reach out. Doesn't matter if they're small or big. Just reach out to them and ask the question, would you like to come to my venue? Would you like to try my product? Would you like to go on a bar crawl tonight, or this week? Let's go and do something together and create that personalized touch that then is going to build a brand advocate for you. It's going to organically happen a lot easier than if you just follow them, you comment. That's all great, and that builds that rapport with this person, with the individual or the company. But then once you actually message them or email them and reach out, it creates that bridge that allows them to respond and builds that relationship further.
Yeah, because then you have an automatic advocate about somebody that's talking about your brand, your product, your bar, and you're not the person that's constantly having to talk about it. So you automatically, when you offer maybe something very small, it's, somebody's invested, and when somebody asks for a recommendation, because you took that extra step, they're probably going to mention your venue or your brand.
And there is no guarantee on that.
There's no
We're
guarantee.
Not promising they're going to do it.
I'm just saying.
You give a great experience. It's the same as every day that you stand at a bar, You present a drink to somebody, you give them the experience. They might come back, they might not. It's the same with these people, unless you predetermine expectations. And that's a big part that, you get? That's a big part of what we've learned along the way, is it's really great to have those expectations predetermined. When you reach out and you say, would you like to come and visit us? If they agree and they say, I'd love to come in, you know, and you say, cool, I'd love to give you a drink or a couple of drinks, and in exchange, I would like some stories, or I would like some photos, I would like a post. It's really nice going into a venue and approaching that situation, knowing what you're getting into as an influencer or as a photographer. Going in and being like, they invited me, they're giving me drinks. I can be a brat and just do nothing and just drink and leave. And that's okay. For some people, that's the risk that you take. But it is much better for us as influencers and photographers if you do say, this is what I'd like. And be realistic about it. Don't ask for a post in exchange for a drink. Depending on the size of their account, that might work. However, a lot of the time when they're coming in, just say, can you do some stories and maybe pull out your camera and take a photo, and I'll treat you to an evening. Some food, some drinks, and we'll see what happens. And that's what builds that organic, genuine content that hopefully they will share with you to use, or they'll publish it themselves, and it gives you that little bit of a rounded reputation.
And like James says, I mean, there's a lot of negative publicity and some of this stuff where people are big brats. We would never do that. Like, I want to pay for my stuff. It's just helpful because of our learning experience and what I've observed with other people doing this in the industry. It's good to set the expectations ahead of time because people think that they're, you know, they can just get stuff for free when that's not the case.
Well, it is the case.
It just depends on the situation. So I'm saying,
and it's up to you. You lead that conversation. It's up to you what they're getting and what you want. And when you're clear with that in the up front, it allows you to know when they're coming in, this is what I'm getting. They may do more, but they won't do less. It's easy enough for them to say, no, I don't want to, and then you say thank you for your time, and you move on to the next person.
Yeah.
So moving on, and this is where we really get into how to actually find these people.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of people in your community that you may have overlooked or just not even known existed. And it's all about finding your community, finding hashtags and accounts that are relevant to your community, and engaging and following with those. So we were in Portland when we put this together, this slide earlier this year, so that's why it's all about Portland. But it's as well, the BCB 2019. On Instagram, just follow that. Be on the BCB 2019, and you can see what's happening. If there's an event going on tonight, people are going to be putting up posts about it, and they do stories as well, and it allows you to see what's happening in real time. But back to your specific neighborhood or your area, there's always, again, Portland is a great city. It's quite relevant in the industry these days. But PDX and You Can in Portland are much more niche hashtags. So by following these hashtags, you're getting more relevant information by people in that community. Tourists don't know hashtag You Can in Portland. They're not going to use it. It's only the relevant people in that community that know what to do.
Yeah, and with Portland as an example, sometimes you don't think about being featured on specific, you know, I would say magazines and newspapers. They all, you know, have digital presences as well on social media. So it's really good to go to those kind of accounts and see like what hashtags are they using, because that's like where we found You Can in Portland.
Yeah. And also here is a great place to just, when you're scrolling through your feed, you see a really great photo. It's not necessarily relevant to what you do, but it shows you the quality of content that someone can produce, even if they're not in the industry specific to you. So if they're doing food photography, not spirits, that's still a great photo with somebody that knows what to do in the industry. And because they're not relevant, they might be even more eager to cross over and come into your venue and exchange with you content, quality photography for a lower price than you would get for somebody that's more relevant.
Yeah. And this is just the Travel Portland tourist website, but as you can see, they have a variety of different photos, food, activities. Those are great ones. We're going to get to this, but that's a great one to use the hashtag where they may feature you to reach an audience that you may not reach.
So there's a huge one about quality content. That's probably what we built our company on. It's all about quality over quantity. Don't just post because you feel like you have to post. If you don't have the content, leave it be and find a way to get that content. And by engaging with these people in your community is one of the best ways to do that at a value. A photographer is an expensive person. They may be happy to trade, but by using people that have the photography skills to come into your venue, do trade, or even if it is a fee, it's usually lower than a professional photographer, and they're going to give you quality content that you're going to then be able to use on your own account. And that's one of the preset expectations that you should use.
Yeah, and I will say right off the bat, this is not easy. So just taking the first step to try to improve yourself is huge. Like, even for me, I mean, I do this as a job. It's not been an easy process. I mean, even for me, it's still hard to have so much content that I think I can post on Instagram. It's like it's hard. You can beat yourself up about it, like if it doesn't get enough likes, but that's beyond this. It's just one of those things where, you post quality content and you have the option to try to partner with people in your community to get it. So it's a win-win.
And so the first point that we've got up there is the 80-20 strategy. And this strategy is one that they use a lot in marketing. And it comes down to everything that you want to do for your venue, for your brand, for what you're doing.
Yes?
Sorry. You definitely want to make sure that you're not just selling to people. People aren't going to follow you and they aren't going to engage with you if everything that you put up is selling to them. The 80-20 strategy follows that in a given week, you would usually post around 5 times, Monday through Friday or Tuesday through Saturday, spread it. But 20% of you post, one post a week, we would recommend being a sales pitch, just something that's branded in their face and very annoying to most people. But then 80% of your content, those other 4 posts, it's really good to use that for where you do have engaging content. Showcase people that work in the venue making drinks. Show people using your product in a way that everyone loves. Just quality photography and really great content that people are going to engage with so that they'll put up with that 20% sales pitch. You're up.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a really good strategy to have because not only are people coming back to your account to kind of see what he was talking about, the 80% of fun posts, but you can also, people are really craving that human element, so it's really great to showcase people so your audience gets an idea of, like, if you're working at a bar, who are these people behind the bar? So that's a great way to showcase too.
And as a brand, venue, whatever it is that you're doing, it's nice to take time once a month. We usually recommend to clients to actually get that content and invite somebody in or use a professional photographer to come in before service or at a time where you're not running around busy with the company, and put aside a couple of hours to just play around, have fun, take some photos, and just get some quality content for that 80%. Because running through every day, there's not always going to be a time during service or while you're in sales meetings and everything to get a cool photo. So it's really good to create that time once a month to get the content that you're going to have. And then we also talk about the user-generated content, which is probably another 20% or a part of your 80%. Do you want to talk about that?
I mean, what I was going to say in addition to that is when he's saying put aside time, it is great to put aside that so you can get the content, so you're not scrambling and you feel like what he said before, that you just have to post something because, you don't want to post a crappy photo.
Crappy photo's not going to get you anywhere. So using user-generated content and tagging people in that is also a great way to engage with your community even further. Coming back to, you found the right people that you want to engage with. You're going through your feed every day and you're liking their content, you're commenting, it's all great. But once you've brought them into your venue, or once somebody's visited your venue, they're going to tag you in a post if they do use that content, and that allows you to see who's created that content, and you can reuse that. If somebody tags you in a post, even if it's just a general consumer, you can reuse that content and use it. It really creates that relationship where I love when people repost my content. and they will engage more, and it creates a brand loyalty.
And about this on tagging, I want to say that, again, if there's something that's on Instagram that they let you do, I would suggest utilizing it. So, for example, the geotag. Yes, you have your location on your profile, but if you're traveling or you're somewhere, you're in your community, you want to make sure you fill out that geotag. It's the top part.
Well, it's the geolocation tag. Hopefully,
you guys probably
you
know
recognize
how to,
it.
you probably know
Posts
how to
that
do it.
you can specifically identify where you are.
Yeah. So if it's your bar, then people don't have to go to your profile to see that or try to go and do this. They can just click on that. It will take them to Google Maps. They can come to your bar, and that's it. Also, hashtags. So we get a lot of questions about hashtags. There's all this like rumors about Instagram. You shouldn't use hashtags. Should you use hashtags? Okay, you can use 30 hashtags. I would suggest using a mix of hashtags. Ones that are your community, your city, your neighborhood, maybe some bigger hashtags like cocktails. And it's really important because if you have the business profile, you're able to go into specific post, and you can actually see how many people saw your post based on hashtags. So this is when people go, I don't need hashtags, I don't use hashtags. Like that's a myth. You need to use them because I have the evidence on this slide how important they are. So.
All right, so on this post specifically, it's one of our greatest ones for this example, but
Before you go into it, just explain how we got this. This is through business analytics, so you have to have a business account. These are some of the analytics you get from a business account. So if you go to a post and it says view insights under it, this is the stuff that you see.
Yeah,
Okay.
It's really great, and that's what the last page was about in the middle here. When you do have a post, such as the first one we have here, and it has view insights, this is the primary information that's coming up. It gives you a detailed analytic between how many people saw what you did, and then where did those people come from? How did they find you? Were they already following you, or did they find you elsewhere?
Yeah, and then just go back one more time just to explain how important it is for you to also put your website in as well, 37 clicks. Anyway, we blew this up to show how important it is. 31% of people were accounts that weren't following me. So that means you're putting yourself out there. Other people are seeing your account from hashtags, geotags, and other things. So it's important. If Instagram lets you include it, just include it. It's just take the extra step, take the extra couple minutes to do it. And we recommend in your phone to have and maybe you already do this. I'm just saying this as a tip because this is what we do. We have in our notes section of our phone, we have different hashtags saved so we can just copy and paste.
When you're putting up a post and creating your caption, it actually takes a lot more effort than people understand. Creating that engaging caption, it's hard. That takes more time than getting the content. But once you have created that, I found myself just getting a blank mind on what hashtags to use. We have hashtags around 15 that we use for every post. We don't just put up the same ones. We don't remember them. We actually save them in our notes, like Natalie said, copy and paste. And that way you're not sitting there for an extra 10 minutes trying to figure out. Each post does have some unique identifiers, though. It might be a cocktail with gin in it, so you're using hashtag gin. That wouldn't be in every post. So there are those unique identifiers that I would add 5 to 10 more hashtags that are unique to that image or that post.
So do y'all have any questions about hashtags or anything?
Or anything. How you doing? She's going to come around with the mic, but I'm sure we can hear you.
Hola. Hi.
Hi.
How are you doing? Can you put the hashtags in a message?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
Is that
course.
okay? Is the same thing?
It's just if you put them in the message, like we use WhatsApp quite a bit, but then you're scrolling up trying to find them every time that you want to use them. So it's easier to save them in the notes. But if the message is easier for you, maybe message it to somebody you don't message a lot or to yourself. And that way you won't have to scroll back and try and find it a lot. Definitely.
Yeah.
Just somewhere where you can recall them easier than trying to remember everything in your mind.
And I will say sometimes on that note that I will put hashtags in in a comment on my post, because when you start putting 30 hashtags in the bottom below your caption, it becomes like really
Messy.
I don't know, it becomes messy. I just don't like the way it looks. So sometimes I will put it in the first comment, which I don't think it matters. There's a lot of fake news around hashtags, and I'm telling you, I have the proof right here.
Ignore that.
So whether you put it in the post or in the comment, I do not think it matters.
Just utilize, it all comes down to utilizing what they allow you to use, and that is the hashtags, the geotags. If they release something and they say, hey, you should use this, just use it. It's not going to hurt. They're telling you to do it.
Yeah.
And somebody else had a question, right? Yes.
Hello, I have two questions to you. So first is that, do you have any tips how to choose the hashtags for the cocktail bar, for example?
Okay.
Because we have so many of them, like bartender, bartender's life, and I'm a little bit confused about that.
Okay.
I mean, we tend to use about half and half, like half hashtags like you're talking about, bartender, cocktail, cocktails, drinks. And then you want to make it more personalized, specific. So you need a niche. You need a niche within those hashtags so people can actually find you, because those big hashtags like bartender, you might not even ever be at the top. It's used so much. You want to make sure you have some niche hashtags like your city, some stuff like that. Is that what you're asking?
I think a lot of it's through trial and error. Use the hashtags you want to use, and then on your next post, use the other ones and see kind of what return you get on those through the analytic that tells you how many people came through the hashtags. It's not guaranteed, but there are so many out there. You could use 100 if you wanted to, but you can't. You can use 30.
And I mean,
but there are so many. To trim that down, it's kind of
Yeah.
through trial and error. Just see what works for you.
Okay.
I mean, I would see what works for you, and that's why we really emphasize having this business account, because it helps you in so many ways kind of tweak what you need to do, because you can actually see the numbers.
Yeah, I have another question. So I'm from Poland, and what do you think about adding hashtags in Polish or in English? How like in Polish and in English, or only in English? Or
We always, I get it. We always talk about. You want to take it?
Well,
Yeah,
I'm going to say from my point of view, it depends on like who are you trying to reach in your community? Are you trying to reach a global community? So if so, I would probably put some of them in English. But if you're just trying to reach people within your community, then obviously you want to put them in Polish, because that's going to more benefit you.
Yeah, and it is good to use both. However, as she said, it's all about who you want to target. If you want to target people in your local community, because those are the people that you do want to engage with, they're the people that you want to see the post more than anything else, I would definitely use them in your local language. But therefore, other people, if I were in Poland, and well, if I were Polish, I don't speak any, but I would be following those hashtags to see what people in my community are doing. So you're more likely to engage with people and reach people that are more relevant to your account.
So I would like to, if I understand you correct, so for example, when I'm posting about event, for example, like cocktail party or something, you recommend to put hashtag in Polish, right? But when I'm posting about like a cocktail or something and I want to show it like a global, so then I should like use English and Polish, for example.
It all depends on who you want to reach with each post. Your hashtags are going to change for every single post. As we said, that there are those ones that we use for everything. And then there's the ones that are more specific to an event. And that's where you would decide, is this one a global post or is this a local post that I just want to share with people in my local community?
And that's the reason that we say use a variety, change them often. You have the opportunity with every single post to reach new people. So using different hashtags and targeting other communities and other countries, you're able to increase your network. Because if you just use the same hashtags and you stay inside this little box, then it's hard to expand your horizons. It's about taking risk. Even on Instagram, it's about taking risk.
Yeah. So moving forward, were there any other questions we missed? Yeah. Natalie, you can just hand off your mic. Get down there.
Thank you very much. So I'm trying to use many different hashtags. I mean, as you say, like geo hashtags and huge hashtags, personalized hashtags. But I'm step by step and day by day, I'm see that the engagement go a little bit down. So I mean, like if I'm using the same hashtag for a month or 2 months, I don't have the same amount of people that getting through with me.
Yeah.
So what you suggest? So to changing hashtags or
we've found through that, and it happens on Natalie's account. It happens on every account. Over time, it's going to change, and a lot of people put a lot of stock in the hashtags being the catalyst for that. However, we found every now and then it just goes down, and then things will change and it'll come back up. It's definitely good to mix up your hashtags. I don't blame the hashtags for that going down. I just believe that that's the way that the profile works or the Instagram account works.
That's how Instagram is. It's like riding a roller coaster. And literally, you just have to stay in your mind, I'm not going to let this mentally affect me. I'm going to ride that roller coaster, and if I don't get enough likes or followers or whatever, I'm doing the best I can do. That's all we can do is the best we can do. And this is why we're doing this, to do the best you can do and get better at it. But yes, I would definitely change them up.
Yeah. And there was one more. Yes? All right.
Hello.
Hi.
I have a question not about the hashtags. I actually have about social media and laws. I'm from Lithuania, and when you basically any kind of advertising for alcohol, for brands of alcohol, bottles, everything like this is forbidden in Lithuania. You can't see the advertising on TVs, in the streets, anywhere. As I run in the business account of Instagram, after several years, I finally figured out how to just show a Hendrix bottle and not get, sued or something. So maybe do you have any more ideas how I should just, go around the law and
how to
do
get
my
around
thing?
it? I think that for us, that's a really difficult question. Yeah, that's
something maybe we
something.
can brainstorm later about, because I have to think about that. I don't know, because I'm so U.S. focused, based. I'm following their rules.
Yeah.
I'm not completely sure on that. But we can have this conversation, and I can figure it out for you. Like we can figure some.
No
we can try to
promises.
help you. We can try to help you.
Yeah, and I think there are fun ways around it that you can create, but I can't tell you how to get around the law right
It's
now.
not that complicated, actually,
Yeah.
because if you don't show just one letter on the bottle, it's already okay. But you can slip on these things. It's easy.
Yeah. All right.
Okay.
I think that's something Natalie will have to come back to with you later.
So now we're just going to talk about another way you can increase your social media footprint. Again, is being featured on larger accounts, and it's talking about going back to hashtags and tagging people. A lot of the larger accounts have hashtags in their bios. You can add them to your hashtag list, and ever so often they'll go through that hashtag and pick some people to feature. So that's another way you can really increase your digital footprint. You can get on one of these accounts and their audience can see you, and maybe they'll follow you, maybe they'll go, ooh, I want to check that person out.
And this is the same. It comes back to, like we said about hashtags. There's the big hashtags, there's the little hashtags. With these accounts, there's global accounts, and then there's niche accounts in your local communities. So these larger industry accounts are amazing, obviously. They have, I've got it on the next page. They have hundreds of thousands of followers most of the time. I don't have it. I thought I did. But these accounts usually tell you, tag us in your post, email us. They give you an in. They tell you, we want quality content, and we want to utilize that, and you can be who we use. So these are great accounts. Follow them and engage with them. make sure they know you exist, and then tag them in your content as well as emailing if it says to email them.
And then maybe also if you want to tag somebody in your story, they have the ability to share that story as well. So that's another option if you have a story that you want to share.
Yeah, and this comes down to, like I said, these are the smaller accounts that it's really good to find in your community. Each one of you in your city, there's local magazines, local food bloggers, people that want to talk about what you're doing. And it's just reaching out to these people, inviting them in, as we said earlier, but also engaging with them digitally is just as important. It's all about tagging them in photos, tagging them in your hashtags, or emailing them and talking to them and creating that personalized connection, which will then hopefully benefit you.
And also on that note, because I've, done some research, and within your community, if this is appealing to you, like we have up there, there's like Visit Seattle, Visit Portland. There's these tourism agencies that are always looking for content and ways to show off their community. So for example, if you're having a new cocktail menu and you have somebody come in and photograph them, you can probably submit those photos to these people and they'll use them because their job is to promote you and people within the community. So that's a really good asset to see if you can utilize, because they have a lot of resources. I recently went to a seminar where they were talking about how people in the community partner with these tourism agencies, and not only do they have a list of influential people in the community, they a lot of times have good digital presence where they're willing to share things, events, new cocktail list, etc.
As we talked about earlier, all of you are looking for quality content to use. You want to utilize photographers for yourselves. So are they. They're all looking for quality content. Every day their job is to post something good. And if you just go through the tags, the accounts that have taken photos and tagged you in them, that's one good way to do it. But if somebody is pushing content in your face and saying, here's a good photo of the burger I'm serving, here's a cocktail that's on the new menu, here is our product, it's amazing, you should check it out, and here's a great image. They want that content. They may not use it every time, but just keep putting it in front of them. They want that stuff. And
then if you notice that most of the time they're just wanting a tag here, photo credit. So just make sure you give the photo credit, and...
So again, this comes down to, we said about the global accounts, these are the more niche accounts. Portland's our example, but obviously each of your communities have these, well, hopefully. And it just says, follow us and tag us. And that is what they do. They sit in an office, most of these people, and just go through who tagged us in what, and they will find the content that they want and they use it. So it's a really good way to get on their radar.
And I mean, it's not going to hurt to DM them a photo and say, will you put this on your account? I mean, just ask for it.
Yeah.
Maybe they ignore it. Maybe they respond and say no, but you might as well ask, and it doesn't hurt anybody.
And there are some magazines and some community engagement pieces that also have contributor networks. And it's as simple as signing up. There's no filter. They're not like, oh, you can't. They have an account set up for you just to say, I'm submitting content. Please use it if you like.
Yeah. And then in our previous seminars, a lot of people have asked, well, where do we find on Instagram that someone has tagged us? Since we have people at different levels, we just want to point out, you just click this box on your feed. Maybe you all know that already. Maybe you don't, but we just want to make sure you can find those photos that you're tagged in.
So does anyone have any questions on engaging with the larger accounts or engaging with your community? We want to make sure that everyone's understanding everything we're putting out there.
We've talked a lot about bar communities, but this is also if you're a brand or like a brand ambassador, it's really transferable to people in your community. The same with planning events, organizing events, reaching out to people saying, I'm having this event. You really have to have no fear and not just keep inviting and interacting with the same people. You need to branch out, and this is the whole thing. Just do it. The least somebody can ignore you or say whatever, but you can get past the fear. It's online. It's not like you have to go see that person in person. You don't have to see that person in an office. I mean, you know what I mean. So
we actually overlooked a pretty important part, and I shouldn't call myself out on it, but Instagram stories are one of the greatest assets that they've given you access to. It's a really great way to show behind the scenes of what you do, what your brand's doing, what your venue is doing, and as well as keeping these featured ones up that really showcase a menu, a portfolio, anything like that. It's a great way. People want to see the personalization. Our account is curated. Everything that we post is a curated photo that took a lot of time and a lot of thought and a lot of effort. But people don't always want to engage with that. People want to engage with a person. They want to engage with somebody that they feel something for, whether it's good, bad, or otherwise. It's just really good to get that personalized touch. And by showing behind the scenes of a venue or your daily life or just who you are, it's a really great way to connect with people on that level.
yeah, and I mean, there are accounts on there that have to show every second of their day, okay? Like, people are sitting there watching like it's a TV. It's like a reality TV, and they're just scrolling, scrolling, scrolling. You don't have to give that much information, but it's good to show people that you're actually a human being that's behind the account. So it goes a long way to show your face, and even though it feels uncomfortable, like I never wanted to be like on my account showing my face, which I didn't for the first 2 years, because there's a fear factor into that. And then also I'm on stories talking, and I'm up here talking, and yes, I have like a weird like Southern accent, and it freaks me out a bit hearing myself on a microphone, but it's like, just put yourself out there. Like, it's fine. Like, you shouldn't get any backlash, probably.
Another
not.
great asset of the story is to cut you off from your
Yeah,
weird,
so
your
the
weird
point
Southern accent.
is that you can show people another side of behind the scenes. People really love seeing that, and you know, Instagram stories allows you to do that, and people literally watch this like they're watching TV. So I would encourage you to do. People ask,
Yeah.
how many stories should you put up a day? It's hard to say. Like, I don't know. I wouldn't do like 50, but maybe 2 or 3 a day. It can really give people a reason to come back.
Sorry. And it's not necessarily on the run. Like, the stories are great to curate as well. As I mentioned before, if you have a portfolio, if you have a new menu coming out, anything like that, you can upload professional photography into stories and curate a featured story. So,
yeah, like it could say like new menu here, and then people that come to your account could go look through it. Or if you're a brand ambassador, a brand, and you had an event, you could put the name of your event here, and people could see like the recap and stuff. So there's a lot of different ways you can utilize stories.
definitely. The one main thing, well, not the main thing, this is actually one of the lower things, but when you are reposting, when you find that quality piece of content that somebody has that you want to use, reach out to them and ask for it. Sometimes it'll degrade when you take that photo off Instagram and then try and re-upload it. It'll degrade in quality. If it's that good of a thing that you want to use, it's really good to get the original. Sometimes they don't have the original though, and you can just take it. And we use the photo and video downloader when we used to do some reposting on other accounts, when we work for brands and do social media management. This is the tool that we use. It does bring down a high quality image, and it allows you to have that to post back up. However, we do notice that when accounts do this, where is it? This one right here. Don't do this, please. It allows you to upload it, but it also puts on these tags in the image,
Yes.
and it really does draw away from that beautiful image that was amazing, and then it just kind of cuts that in there, and it's annoying to me as a creator. You took a beautiful image, and you just kind of did that to it. So that's just one of the things to avoid. Post the image the way that it was. Don't edit it. Don't put it through a filter to kind of personalize it. It's
Yeah.
not personal. It's somebody else's.
I think people get freaked out, like people are going to get mad if you don't put this because they feel like you're not giving them credit. But I promise, like, the standard way to give somebody photo credit these days is just to say photo credit or put a camera and tag that account in the caption and in the photo. I absolutely do not think that you need to use that repost bar. It's awful. Like, I would suggest not using it.
So one of the things that we also talk about is consistency. Engage daily, or at least every second day. If you disappear for a week, a month at a time, your account and everything that you've done kind of falls slowly away, and people stop paying attention and stop taking notice. Your lives are busy. Our lives are busy. Everyone here is an important person with something in their lives. But half an hour a day or 5 minutes just to go online, put something up, as long as you have the quality, put up a quality content. And the best way to do that is to plan ahead. Once a week, once a month, put together a little calendar of the style of photo, or you may even have the content already, and just curate that and say, Monday the 1st, this is what I'm posting, and create that caption. Give yourself once a month or once a week an hour block to put that together so that when it comes to Tuesday, you're running around, you're busy, and it's time to post, you've already got it. You're not scrambling and taking that extra time trying to find the right photo, trying to curate your caption, trying to find your hashtags. It's there for you, and you've already curated it.
Yeah, and pre-planning that really helps you to be able to go through, like, for example, if someone messages you on DM, you want to make sure if they're not creepy that you message them back. If someone writes a comment, you want to make sure, asking a question about a menu at an event, you want to make sure that you answer that in a timely fashion, which is very difficult sometimes for me as well. So it's good to set some time aside to do that, because this, if anyone ever tells you this is easy, this is not easy. There's a lot of components. There's a lot of things now. Instagram, every day it seems like they're adding a new feature. IGTV, stories, all of it. So it's hard to stay on top of it.
And it's all about in your local community again, and this is different. For us, 12 o'clock New York time is when we post. That's our audience. Those are the people that we want to see our content, and that's the best time for them. So a big part of using social media is knowing when to post and when to put that up so that the people that you want to see it are going to see it.
Yeah, there's so many boundaries with Instagram these days. So with the business account, you will see the whole week set up on Insights, and I don't have a slide up here to show this, but if you tap on the bar graph, it will literally say 20,000 of your followers are on at this time, or how many ever. It will tell you how many of your followers are online at any given time. So you take the biggest number, and that's when you want to post.
Yeah, and this is coming back to that. Why we talk about that is because for us, 12 o'clock is when we want our content to go live, pretty much on the dot. She's not good at it. It's usually 20 minutes either way. She's usually late, but that's our target. And what's important is to find that hour around that to curate your content for the next day, to engage with your community. Instead of jumping on Instagram in the morning and then jumping on at 12 to get your post up, and then maybe getting back on again at 3 or 4 o'clock before service or before you're doing something else, just put that hour aside like you would lunch or a meeting or anything else. Engage with your community before you get a live, post, and then continue that engagement. It keeps your content relevant, and it brings you to people's minds and brings you up to the top of that.
It's really, you probably can't see this, but it's like if you go to Insights, there's 3 tabs: content, activity, and audience. This is under audience. You go all the way to the bottom, you'll see the bar graph. You click on the bar graph, it will tell you like how many people are online at any given time of your followers. My time is messed up because I'm here and I'm thinking about New York time, but you get the point. That's when the best time to post is. So
and that's also important. Who you have following you may not be the people that you want to engage with. If you're running a business over here in Europe right now, 12 o'clock here is not the time that we want to post. Always look at who your target audience is. If you want to target people in New York, look at what time you should be posting that they would see it. If you want to be in London, no matter where you are in the world, you can post so that you're relevant to that community. And it's really good to do the research and see what time most people are engaging on social media in your city or in your target city and kind of hit that point.
And then before we go on to like some of our final questions, we just wanted to talk about some takeovers and giveaways, and the ones behind me are some things I've done in the past, which we find if you can cross-promote with somebody or work with somebody on a giveaway, like, for example, I would work with like a bitters company, and the bitters company will supply some bitters, and honestly, to win that giveaway, they have to follow me and the bitters company. So you're automatically getting people that follow you. Then they have to tag 2 of their friends. Well, those friends that they tag may be people that don't follow you already, and so you're exposed to 2 more people. So it's like this kind of thing that branches out like a tree, where more people see your account, more people see your account. So we highly recommend doing giveaways or doing like account takeovers, just because you reach an audience that might not be your main audience that you have.
And a lot of you work in the alcohol industry, and most cities or most countries won't let you give away alcohol. So the ways around that is to do like something that people love. We do giveaways with bar aprons. We do giveaways with bar tools. There are other ways to promote your company and your brand without giving away alcohol, without promoting that. So it's really good to think about things like that. Gift cards are the best way to do it. And it's also really good when you do invite influencers or influential people in your community into your venue. It's nice to set that predetermined expectation with a gift card. That way they know how much they have to spend. If you just invite them in and say, hey, come on in for some drinks, it's kind of a gray area. They can say 2 drinks, or they can say, you invited me in for drinks and I'm drinking all night and you're footing the bill. And that's cool. You know, if that's what they want to do, don't invite them back. But set those predetermined expectations.
So with that being said, do you all have any questions about Instagram profiles, anything Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, stories, IGTV, etc.?
Or anything we didn't cover that you do want to
please
know
ask.
about. We got like 3 minutes,
Yes.
I think.
Hi, do you find it useful or annoying when people, or if you post like a grid post onto the story and do the whole new post thing?
I do that. Is it annoying?
I don't know.
I don't know. I'd like feedback. Every time I do it, I'm like, is this really annoying? But you know what? I see people that just scroll through Instagram, and then I see people that just scroll through stories. So I'm wondering if there's I believe that there's a different audience there, and I think that if for some reason your post does not show up, like I literally follow people I like and comment on every single one of their posts, and I'm not even kidding you, it never comes up organically in my feed. So I do think that when you put it in stories, it's just another alert. So yeah. I do it.
So yes, you can do it.
So yes, I would do it. And actually, if you don't want to share the post, you can say new post and swipe up, and you can actually put the link of your post in there so they can swipe up and go directly to your post and like it.
However, you need over 10,000 followers to get the swipe up. Did you not say today?
Well, I think you have to have 10,000 followers to use the swipe up.
So not everyone can do that.
Sorry. Well, I mean, I'm just saying, if you have that, utilize it.
Hi, you actually came to my pub in Dublin, the Rag Trader.
Yeah.
Yes.
Created a video
Yes.
there.
Yeah.
We got great traction from that.
Yes.
Excellent.
Okay, yeah.
So just a quick question. Is there any particular campaign or competition you've ran recently that you were surprised by the engagement, or anything you would recommend just for traction or engagement for target customers or your audience?
That comes back to this page. For us, the campaigns with giveaways are the greatest engaging campaigns that we can run. Simply because when we do it, what it is we're telling our audience, you can win something. However, you have to tag 2 of your friends to win it. What that does is gives you exponential viewers.
Exposure.
Because everyone that they tag, well, not everyone, hopefully, the people that they tag also want to enter. So they're going to tag 2 of their people, and so on and so forth. So giveaways for us are by far the highest engaging content that we can create. And obviously, you want to be direct about what the prize is. You want to say, this is what you're winning. This is not necessarily the value, but here's this awesome apron by a company that we love, and you should enter this competition. and they'll tag 2 people who they tag might want to enter. And they'll do the same,
yeah.
and there's a really great return on investment
And
on
if
those.
y'all want to see some examples, this one up here is one, the first one where I partnered with a bitters company, but I'm also doing one right now on my account. It's only for US, but you can see how people, if you look at my most recent post, it's a Monin syrup giveaway, but they're giving away an apron and a bar kit and everything else. But you can see the people that are tagging other people.
Yeah, so that is the best one. Were there any other questions while we're here?
I just want to say that if no one else has any questions, feel free to, I have all my cards up here, but also like you can come see me after this. If you have a specific question, you can DM me on Instagram. I'm always, most of the time on Instagram.
She's always on Instagram.
Yeah, any questions, anything you need, whatever we can provide, the slides, you can email us, you can message me on Instagram, whatever I can do to help you out. I really want to do that, so please.
And I'm on Instagram as well, if you want to love me too. Thank you, everyone, for coming. We really appreciate it.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, James and Natalie. If you have any further questions, please feel free to reach out to them via Beautiful Booze on Instagram.
Can we get everyone to like cram in real quick for a photo?
So we can put it up
BCB
on
said
Instagram.
not to do this, but we want to.
Would you guys kindly come to the center of the room and then
Or-
James could take a photo of everyone?